Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. Uh, please hit that subscribe button if you like the way that any topics or subjects are being discussed, broken down, or analyzed on the channel. Hit that like button, leave a comment. I love to chop it up with you on most of these things that I'm discussing. New music, the RTJ 4, the long awaited, the highly anticipated new release from uh, producer rapper LP and Atlanta, Georgia's own. Oh, now you're gonna come up here. Uh, Killer Mike, one of my one of my favorite duos, and I didn't realize it had been that long since the last project. It looks like RTJ 3 was in 2016. That just doesn't sound right to me. Um, but you know, these guys really helped to rekindle my interest in hip hop, and I love what they do. I love the two guys. I knew of LP prior to this. I wasn't a big fan of Killer Mike's music per se. Maybe he just didn't have kind of like the production that I like, maybe. Um, but he's really shining and really coming to his own since being paired up with LP, in my opinion. Getting into this album, man, 11 songs. Looks like it's all produced by LP. And then I see the names of Wilder, Zobi, and Little Shalimar. And that's why I was confused on a couple albums throughout their catalog. And then looking into LP a little bit more, it was like, who's doing all of this production? How do they get this sound that they have? That's like, it's just so unique. Um, so anyway, let's jump into it, man. Yankee and the Brave was the first song that I heard from this project. I caught it onto it from LP's Instagram page. Just really rebellious music, in my opinion. The production is really fire. The guys hit the ground running in terms of this is what you expect from them. This, the style of music, and then the lyrics and whatnot. Seems like they're mixing up their verses a little bit with the back and forth game, as well as full individual verses and whatnot. One of my favorite classic kind of drum beats is on this one. L is does his thing. Killer Mike both doing his thing. I don't know if I really have any verses of the month from back to the my days of reading the source when they used to have either verse of the month or the hip hop quotable or whatever it was called. I don't know. I'd have to listen to it a few more times probably to get to that level with it. But definitely highlights all over the place, big statements, so on and so forth. Track 2 is the video that they released a few weeks back. Ooh La La. So, these two songs, I'm familiar with them. Get out the gate. Gets the album out the gate very strong. This is just another nice collection of, my note on that was another nice collection of organized noises and sounds. And then when you pair the lyrics with the video and all of the imagery from the video, and then throw that up against what's going on in the real world right now with the people in the streets, protesting and whatnot. Talk about the perfect timing. Gotta let my dog in. He thinks it's too hot out here. So we we sat with those couple of records for a couple of at least a month and a half. I thought before the project came out. I thought we had another few days before this was gonna drop, but then I saw the Instagram message from LP maybe 2 days ago. What was that? Third or the fourth, and they were like, just to hell with it, we got to get it out there. So they I think they delivered it early. Track 3 is Out of Sight featuring 2 Chainz. This kind of had like It's Getting Funky from DLC, from the DLC. Kind of had that vibe to it a little bit, I thought. Decent joint. 2 Chainz trying, showing some wittiness and whatnot. I like the line in there that he had about if I buy a hot dog stand, if I want to be frank. Solid album, album song. Track number 4 is a Holy Kalama Fuck. Real nice drum beat. Musical change up musical change up in this one. So a lot of synths or keyboard sounds or something. Like I said, all of these different little accessories that LP's music or RTJ's music, if you want to factor in the other 2 producers that I mentioned earlier. But it's these random chants, noises, different call outs and stuff. But that's another good one, Holy Kalama Fuck. Goonies verse E.T. is the next joint. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A nice little line at the end of the song, I believe, from Mike's verse was Jamie verse y'all with the knife and a musket. I really thought Mike's closing verse was really strong, was really one of his better moments on the album. It seemed like on that cut it was less back and forth with the back and forth style, 2 or 4 bars here and there, back and forth past the mic type thing. Goonies verse E.T. I was trying to listen in to see kind of what that name was about, both of those being movies from back in the days. The Goonies and then E.T. I haven't gotten... I'm going to have to listen to this one a couple more times to really take all of it in. Walking in the Snow. Walking in the Snow is probably the next big record on this album from Yankee and the Brave and Ooh La La. This kind of gets back on that level in my opinion. LP is spitting some real serious stuff here and calling different things to your attention. I like a line in there. He says something about you realize that the cage is not built for just one group, and after they do their things with other other groups or communities, they put you in there or your group in there. He gets into it talking about something disingenuous way to piss away one's existence, and finishes something very strong with lost your minds if you had one to begin with. And I just think, they get in, both of these guys are all, Killer Mike has really worn the whole Kill Your Masters t-shirts, or, had that emblazoned on his shirts and whatnot, constantly says it. And they have their, I don't think either one of them are too big on like organized religion or, I don't know what their spirituality is or what their belief systems. I don't know, but they challenge all of that with a lot of their lyrics. And then LP says something about pseudo Christians was what he was talking about. Like, you preach all of this stuff, but I'm not sure that you really represent any of it or that you live any of it out. And was like just being fake. Killer Mike comes in with Gangsta Boo returns on this joint. Killer Mike has something about, gets into the whole situation. It's crazy that I think they had already recorded this, but he made the line about, his voice going down to a whisper as he's being arrested and killed by a police officer, where he tells him that I can't breathe. And then he adds on to that like a lot of us are gonna be all up in arms about it, but most of us are just gonna not do much more beyond some kind of Twitter rant, is his lyric. And then he goes on to say, and you call it a travesty, when what's really a travesty is that you've lost your empathy. It's been replaced by apathy and whatnot. So it'd be interesting to see when this song was recorded. But like I said, the track is fire. It has a couple change ups in there, some different noises. And on here again, they pretty much go with the one verse each, and then I think they come back for a third verse at the end where they do some back and forth. But Walking in the Snow, um, I like the feel of it. Like I said, good rebellious music. There's actually an article out there I meant to read before starting this that was just talking about kind of like this was the perfect soundtrack for like rebel music or message music. So I'm gonna have to look that up and check it out. But Walking in the Snow really delivers. This is, like I said, a big record. The next track, Just Ju $T, has Pharrell on there, and Zach De La Rocha returns. He's kind of that. Was it Billy Preston was the brother that they said was like the fifth Beatle or something? But Zach kind of makes these timely appearances on RTJ projects and whatnot. And Zach is weird, man, because he really spits pretty well, to be honest. I like his delivery. He kind of connects his words together and has a really aggressive, powerful delivery and whatnot. And he's always talking about something substantive, of course. Pharrell, I think, is doing some work in the chorus and saying a couple of bars and whatnot. But it's basically, the big statement here is look at all those slave masters posing on your dollars. And it's kind of just reminds you in some of the tone deafness that we're seeing right now. Drew Brees is on the hot seat right now. And people are returning to the whole anthem argument, kneel, disrespecting the flag, blah, blah, blah. And mainstream America, white America, does not really understand all of these different references to the founders of this country and the level of citizenship that this stuff was started, that America was based upon. And like you said, we walk around with some of this money in our pocket with some unsavory dudes on there, and nobody says anything about it. You're not supposed to listen to the lyrics of the national anthem. Just stand up. So getting into that kind of thinking, challenging what people are comfortable with and what people are expected to just accept just because. That's another nice joint. It's Just. Also, Never Look Back is next. Real synth heavy or keyboard type track. Really Stranger Things-ish to me in a way. And I want to say that kind of like the album seems to kind of flow from like more some sample type stuff or more hip hop, traditional hip hop feel with some of the earlier songs on here. Yankee and the Brave, Ooh La La, Walking in the Snow to a degree. And then it kind of starts transitioning into these last few songs, starting with The Ground Below is more of a metal like beat or rock type beat. I could really see them performing this on the stage, to raise the energy of the performance and change it up a little bit. But I think the chorus is saying God never meant much to me. Again, just challenging all of these traditional beliefs and go along to get along and just accepting what's been passed down to you and feeling like you have to uphold any of this stuff. That's kind of what The Ground Below is about. And then in the last, I don't know, it's not a full verse, but it's maybe 6 or 8 bars or something from Killer Mike. But he's saying, one thing that I've been saying in some of my Instagram videos or live Instagram videos, and definitely on my It's Always Personal podcast. You can check that out on Spotify. A lot of this stuff, these hurdles, the noise, the hatred, the racism, the discrimination, the prejudice, all of this stuff is there. But unless you're just gonna get on a plane or a boat and really leave here, you're going to have to overcome this stuff. You're going to have to figure out how to move on and do what it is that you want to do in spite of all of this stuff. And to quit listening to people who just tell you about these mountains and tell you about these insurmountable forces and whatnot. Find you some people that's going to encourage you, like Mike says here. No matter what, gotta hold that chin up. I mean, you gotta hold that chin up and do what you're trying to do. Getting into the last three songs, pulling the pin, interesting combination with Josh Home, and then Mrs. Mavis Staples, soul singer from back in the 60s and 70s, I want to say. Another more rock-like beat. I like it that they left a lot of space in this beat for them to say a lot of thoughtful things and to touch on some important points. But that's another big record on here. It's pulling the pin. Interesting to recruit Mavis Staples, a soul legend on here. A few words for the firing squad. Actually, this was track 11. There is no more after this. But a few words for the firing squad. I kind of took this song as like, here's the finished project. Here's our whole new album. For anybody that might want to take some shots at us or talk about us negatively for anything that we've presented here, here's some thoughts for you. But the beat it's like a pulsing beat. Mike's talking about his life and people depending on him to be who he is and how he stays in his lane and keeps it pushing. And then there's this saxophone outro, and then it even comes back and there's a Yankee and the Brave outro that's kind of interesting. But a few words for the firing squad is a pretty good close. Closes the album out nicely. I don't know, man. If I was putting this on a scale of 10, I think it's probably an 8, maybe 7.5-ish, 8. Somewhere around there. I think it's something missing to me a little bit on here. And like I said, maybe because they rolled out the two songs so far out in front of the album, you don't see that a lot nowadays. Usually you just get the whole project. So maybe that kind of takes away from how big I want to say it is or isn't. Maybe that's affecting how I feel about it. But it's an album I'm going to spend some more time with. Like I said, man, it's a lot of statements being made on here. And LP his rhyme schemes and whatnot are pretty complex. And so I'm going to take it in some more. Definitely RTJ fans, check it out. If I need to, I'll come back and say it's a 9 or something or whatever, 9.5. I don't know. But like I said, anywhere from 7.75 to 8.5, I'm probably cool with after 2 listens or 3 listens thereabout. So that's it, man. Holla at me. Like I always say, man, stay safe right now. Stay calm. Be patient. Keep your head on a swivel. And then you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.